To make your winter tree, we're gonna need a variety of materials. I'm gonna have black paper as my background, so I have a piece of black construction paper, and then I'm gonna use blue, white, and greens to represent the snow-covered ground that I'll be tearing to glue. I will need a bottle of glue. I will also need some paints. I'm gonna use green, for the tree, and possibly put in a little bit of yellow to have some variations of the color green, and white to add some snow on the tree and in the background. If you have a brown paint, you can use that, or I'm going to make a brown to do the trunk of my tree. Then I'll also be using a water cup and a brush for rinsing my brush. So let's go ahead and start by tearing some of the blue, white, and green papers for the bottom of our page. I could leave it just like that, but I think I'd like a little more variety. So I'm gonna have some thinner, maybe some kind of even going at an angle, and just starting with a few pieces. I can make it even smaller if I need to. I'm gonna do the same with my white. So again, ripping that. I might rip it again, maybe there. So that's kind of rectangular shapes, but I can also kind of do more angled shapes, and I can tear more again once we get into that. And for the green, so we'll have a little bit of the green here and there, and the dark green. All right. Now, as I get collaging it, I can sort of choose what size and shape I want where. So here's my black piece of paper, and I am going to kind of think about overlapping to create this sort of winter ground. So I don't want it going off the edge, so I can always kind of tear there. I might do some different shades of green with some white and blue showing to sort of represent the snow on the grass. It is not going to be super realistic. It's going to have an abstract feel to it, so it doesn't have to be exactly a certain way. I definitely want my white to be recognized, you know, as snow, so I want to maybe do that on going on the top of some of my other colors. So maybe even something as simple as that. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this part, and then we will meet back to paint our tree. I have glued down my pieces of construction paper to sort of represent the snow-covered and ice-covered ground. Now I'm ready to make my tree trunk. So because I do not have a brown, I'm gonna make a brown with yellow and purple. They're complementary colors that cancel each other out to make a neutral. If I use more yellow, it will be a lighter tan or a yellowish brown. If I use more purple, it will be darker. So I can kind of experiment on my plate and see where I am happy with the color brown that I have. You can see this brown coming up. I'm gonna mix it all together, and it looks like I've got a nice shade of brown. That was about equal parts purple and yellow that I had there. Now I'm gonna take my brush and I'm going to show the trunk of my tree. I'm not gonna go all the way up because I'm gonna put the tree, like the needles of the tree kind of starting where my trunk ends. So I'm gonna go maybe about here and paint down, and I'm gonna paint into my collaged portion. This paint is pretty thin, so I might have to do a couple layers and maybe not brush it in all the way. Kind of tapping it on there to keep it sort of thick. Okay, I'm gonna let that be my trunk. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And I'm gonna start with my green. I am going to have my tree be wider at the bottom and get thinner as it goes towards the top. I'm also not going to do as much of a brush-like manner as maybe more of a tapping or sort of pushing direction with my brush. So I'm kind of going up and down like that. I might mix in a little bit of yellow to get some variations in my greens. Get in some more green. And I'm gonna keep working my way up the tree. Picking up some yellows here or there. I'm not worried about rinsing my brush before I dip into that yellow because it's all gonna get mixed. And then in a little bit, we'll add that white. Letting the paint stay kind of thick on the paper. Getting the texture of a tree by doing this dabbing motion with my paintbrush. The tree's gradually getting thinner as it goes towards the top of the page. My tree's a little bit tilted, and that's okay too. Okay, now I can get into my white. Again, I'm not even rinsing, I'm just dipping right in. And that might represent the snow on the tree itself. So it's a snow-covered winter tree. The ground has some snow. We see that white mix a little bit with that green. Keeps a nice fluffy look. See more dimension in that tree. Okay, and now the last step is we can add our snow falling. And I'm gonna do that with the other end of my brush, and I'm going to dip it into the white paint and then add the snow falling from the white. Trying not to get the white that has the green in it. It can just go around the tree, or you could even put some on the tree, you know, have some snowflakes falling on it or in front of it. Some might be bigger if you have more paint on the end. Some might get a little smaller. And there we have it. We have a nice winter tree, mixed media made from collage and paint, and it makes for a nice finished winter artwork.